Hello and welcome to my latest video. Yesterday I was giving it large about how good my immune system is, and that there is no way that I'm going to catch COVID because of my reclusive lifestyle, living in my studio most of the time. I've gone and tested positive for COVID last night, so there we go. I have got a bad chest. I've got a sore neck, and I've got a cough that's quite persistent, so if I start coughing I do apologise, but as long as I can wave my arms about and hold a brush, I'm okay. I'd have to be really serious before I stop painting. Anyway, I'm going to be painting on this old acrylic painting that I did about a year ago, that I'm bored of it now, so time to get rid. And it's on excuse me, on 20 by 16 inches stretch canvas, and I'm going to be using my oil paint. See how we get on. So I've got pretty much my usual colours. I've got some Payne's Grey, sap green with some red ochre mixed into it, and in that I've got a load of linseed oil mixed in that. I've got my cadmium yellow pale hue, ultramarine blue, titanium white, got a couple of reds there from a painting I did yesterday, just hanging on, and I've got some, that green is actually bone dry, so I'm not going to be using that. It's dried out quite a bit. So yeah, we'll start waving my hairy stick about and see how we get on. Another apology in advance, I've got my dogs. They spent yesterday barking through one of my films, so if they start barking again, I apologise. So well, let's get going. Let's try and ignore that horizon a bit and go a little bit higher. Yeah, about a third of the way up, I think. Just a bit of sap green on my brush. I might put a bit of Payne's Grey as well and start doing. See what will happen. Whoops. Yeah, yesterday I was nattering about some of the good times we had sledging, and there's bloody hair on there already. Sledging and snowball fighting and stuff like that, and some great memories. Used to sledge at my Auntie Di's field. Not my real auntie, she used to babysit me and my brother, so we called her Auntie Di. We called just about everybody in the village auntie or uncle, for some bizarre reason. Everyone who was a member of the same WI that my mum was in was called Auntie. But yeah, we used to go sledging at my Auntie Di's field. It was brilliant. Cracking field just outside the village. And yeah, she babysat us, John and Di. They've got a farm. So many happy memories, you know, helping out on the farm and watching lambing and stuff like that. And going trips out on tractors and Land Rovers, or as we say in Derbyshire, chatters. Yeah, it was happy times. I remember one time quite well. I used to take my toy soldiers with me, had quite a collection of toy soldiers, as did Auntie Di, and her son, he was into it as well, so I used to play with his soldiers as well. And in the lounge they had this big blue Arga. I think I remember it being blue. And every now and again, on this particular day, Auntie Di would come in and twiddle the knobs, and you know, she was obviously cooking something in this Arga. And this one occasion, I remember, I think it was Uncle John or Di bought him a box of lambs. You know, all alive lambs, you know, bleating and, you know, and all the rest of it, and put them in the Arga. And Auntie Di were twiddling knobs and opening the Arga up every now and again, and you could hear the bleating. Now, I thought that she was cooking the bloody things. I didn't say anything at the time until I got home. And I think I was traumatised, a bit of a state. And I told my mum that I don't want to go back to Auntie Di's again. She was cooking lambs in the Arga. I think that's probably why I don't like roast lamb now. I'm not a fan of roast lamb at all. But yeah, I really thought she was cooking them. But yeah, she was in fact keeping them warm. Oh, not a bad sky already. It's a bit of green kicked up from the bush, but it works. Can live with that. Excuse me. Yeah. I used to love going to Auntie Di's, Uncle John's. We had an Uncle Bob as well, who, again, not the real uncle, but for some reason Mum insisted we called him Uncle Bob. He had the local shop. I don't think there's a shop there anymore. It's I think it's now a house. But yeah, we used to love going to that shop. After school, we used to pile off the school bus and dive into the shop. And he was a lovely man, Bob. It was Bob and Anne. She was Auntie Anne, of course. And his catchphrase was always, "For what do I owe this pleasure?" He was a larger-than-life, very jolly man. And yeah, the tinkle of the bell would go in the shop, and he'd emerge from behind you know, the colourful strips of plastic tape that used to hang from the doors, I suppose to keep flies at bay or whatever. He used to emerge from behind there, and you know, he'd call out, "For what do I owe this pleasure?" with his arms extended out, the big grin. And you know, more often than not, it was you know, a quarter of, I don't know, chocolate eclairs or whatever. But I remember one time going in, and I always look forward to going to him because every Friday he'd give me a big baked tart, because we lived near Bakewell. It was all about Bakewell pudding and Bakewell tarts and stuff, because he also ran a tea shop, and every Friday he'd emerge, you know, for what do this pleasure, do all that routine, holding a huge Bakewell tart in a tray every Friday, and it was one. And you know, every Friday he'd say, you know, inverted commas, oh, I messed it up. I was making it for the tea shop, but I made a mess of it. And it was pristine, and he never mucked it up. And yeah, he never wanted a penny. And this went on for a long time. Until there was one day I went over to the shop. I think my mum had given me a list, like cigars for Dad and a bottle of wine or a wine box or whatever. I mean, it wouldn't happen now, but back then, you know, your parents gave you a list with all contraband stuff on, and you can get it. But yeah, I went over clutching my list, and you know, the familiar tinkle of the doors, the shop opens, you go in, and there wasn't the welcome, you know, for what do owe this pleasure. There was nothing. And his wife, Auntie Anne, was there instead. And I said, oh, is Bob all right? I said, yeah, he's fine, he's just sorting out. I'm not going to say his name, I'm going to use a false name to protect his identity, but he's just sorting Kevin out. And now Kevin lived over the road from the shop. That's not his real name, and he was a good friend of mine. And I thought, oh, that's odd, that's weird. But as I'd gone into the shop, I was aware of there were 2 police cars, you know, the old-fashioned jam sandwich sort, and an ambulance there. So 2 police cars and an ambulance, which was totally unheard of in the village where we lived. You just didn't get them at all. You know, if you needed the hospital, you didn't get the ambulance, you'd jump in your parents' car and go to the cottage hospital. So it was very unusual, very strange to see. So, oh right, so I got some sweets and whatever, and the door tinkled as Bob came in with, you know, was holding a tray with empty mugs on and stuff, and I said, oh, hello, Uncle Bob, are you alright? And he didn't give me eye contact, which was very odd, very strange. It was totally out of character. And so I, you know, got me sweets and you know, 5 Hamlet for me Dad and wine box or whatever, and went home. Now I was only about 10 at the time, and I got home. Now bearing in mind, you know, it was before internet, before mobile phones and all that sort of thing, and it just shows how fast word gets round a village. And I went to my mum. I said, there was an ambulance and 2 police cars outside Kevin's house, again not real name. And my mum said, yeah, and she sat me down, and as I said, Kevin was a really good friend of mine. Said, yeah, unfortunately Kevin has hung himself, and yeah, I was very, very upset, very sad about it. And yeah, so Bob, being such a kind man as he as he was sorting it all out, and it was actually Bob who found Kevin, false name. So yeah, it was a big shock. Kevin was a very lonely man. He'd lost his mum. I think he struggled with mental health, and he used to dress in 70s stuff. He used to, he used to have like purple flares on, and and all the other stuff you associate with the 70s. Now bear in mind, this was like in the late 80s, and he was very much a recluse. He'd walk around the village, he'd have a walk, and he was quite eccentric. I suppose some people would have called him weird, but me, I always made a point of saying hello to him, and we always walked together around the village. Me blissfully unaware of how poorly he actually was. I used to spend a lot of time with him chatting. It was so lonely. I must have been the only person that he really saw around the village who chatted. But yeah, it was a very sad time. Yeah, sorry, I don't mean to go on about doom and gloom, but just popped out. It's something I think about sometimes. Yeah, I don't want to say his real name in case he's got any family who might be listening or watching or whatever. I'm quite pleased with that sky. Interesting hills and stuff going on. Right, I might put a bit of yellow down in that area there. Yeah, when I was 10 or 11 when that happened, and it wasn't the first time I'd come across tragedy. I remember the first time at primary school, and this particular lad, he used to sit on my table. He was a very good friend of mine, and again, I hesitate to use his real name. But he was a very good friend, and this was, oh God, I must have been, I'd have been infants, so I'd have been about 5, perhaps even 4, and this particular lad didn't come into school one day, and you think he's just poorly or whatever. It was so long ago, but I still see his face. I still see him. He'd be 43 now. But anyway, this lad didn't come into school, and we had an assembly, and the teachers were talking about death and heaven and all that sort of thing, and that how this lad, my friend, has now gone to heaven. And yeah, I'll never forget it. And what happened was it was a winter. It was really snowy, and he'd fallen into a trough full of, ice and water, and drowned in the trough. Yeah, it was horrible time. It would have been dreadful for, you can't even imagine what it's like for the family. But yeah, poor lad. Anyway, going on about bloody doom and gloom again. My apologies. Right, sort this foreground out a bit. I might, let's have a look, swap brush, make this long handled flat brush, just do some stuff down here. There we go, a bit of not Indian red, red ochre going on. And it's getting there reasonably nicely. A bit more yellow here. Oh God. Oh, excuse me. Getting there. Not too bad. Yeah, let's have a look at it. I think that, I don't know, it looks a bit of a mountain thing there. I don't know about it. It's a shame it's blue, but I might leave it and see what happens. Leave that for a bit. A little bit of red has leapt into the sky, which helps. So, a bit more yellow down here, I think. Yeah, it's getting there gradually. Slow and steady. Let's have a think. Put some things here. Rocks, perhaps. With my shaky hands. Oh, aye, that's a useful line there. Could be a wall or something. Same up here. There we go. Yeah, my shaky hands are very evident when I'm using palette knife. Any small details I do struggle with sometimes. Right, it is getting there. Slowly does it. Let's give this long handled brush a bit of a dry. Yeah, it used to be a belting little shop in the village. It's a shame it's gone. Used to do all sorts of things in that shop. He used to have a proper meat slicer in there, which was always fascinating to see. Watch it working away, chopping up the ham and everything. I don't know if any shops have them nowadays, but yeah, used to love watching the meat slicer going on the counter. Another thing you don't really see anymore is, you do occasionally, is a village doctor we had, what's his bloody name now? Dr. Cosgrove and Dr. Bartlett. There's two of them, partners. And whenever we were poorly, we used to go and see him. And he had a surgery at someone's house. And she was called Mrs. Belfield. And what I remember about that, it's funny what you remember, because I was only a toddler at this point. I don't think my brother would have even been born. And we used to go to see Dr. Bartlett and everything at Mrs. Belfield's house. And his surgery was pretty much in an office set aside in Mrs. Belfield's house, and the waiting room was her sitting room. And what I remember about that is she had a cuckoo clock. I used to get very excited if the cuckoo went going cuckoo. And I remember the tick-tock of this bloody clock going. And she used to make cups of tea for, all the various people waiting to see the doctor. It reminds me of All Creatures Great and Small. Same sort of setup as that, just a house. Old-fashioned, And we'd wait in there, and I'd have orange juice and a biscuit, keep me quiet. Now, it's not like now. I mean, there were no bloody infection control, and there was no posters up about flipping genital warts and stuff. Just basically a bloody her house. Yeah, we used to go there when we were poorly. Yeah, I used to love Mrs. Belfield's. She lived for sweeping leaves. She was constantly sweeping leaves outside her house, on the footpath. Bit like Nora Batty off Last of the Summer Wine. She'd be there in with a headscarf and sweeping leaves. A dead nice lady, you know. Yeah, I'm pretty pleased with Skies. Now it's quite low key, which isn't bad at all. So I think we're very nearly there. Might put a bit more yellow down here. A few bits and pieces. But other than that, we're very nearly done. Yeah, it's turned out quite well. There's an illusion of a group of rocks there and a bit of an edge, almost like Kerber Edge in the Peak District and Frogger Edge. Yes, it's not bad at all. I'm quite pleased with that. Oh, excuse me. Oh, God. Oh, God, that made me dizzy, that coughing then. Jesus Christ. Oh, God. Head rush. Anyway, let's nearly finished. Put some little details on. Few rocks maybe. Ooh, rough. Quite pleased. It is not bad at all, and I think we are very nearly there. Oh, there's a bit of green in the sky, which is all right. Right, swap my brush, get my flathead one again, a bit of titanium white up here. Yeah, I'm not sure about that line. Let's bring it down a bit, just break it up a little. I don't want it looking too mountainy. That's a bit better, I think. Just left a little bit of blue in there, gives it a bit of interest. Yeah, I mean, almost there. Whoops. Yeah, just it was it's a bit flat, that horizon for me, so I'm just tuning it up a little, give it a little bit of depth. There we go. Perhaps a bit of something here. Yeah, there we are. Sort that out a bit. And again. Oh, got a big long hair. It's not one of mine, I've had my hair cut. Yeah, that's it. That is it. Just about. I think we're just about there. Still not sure about that line. Do I get rid of it? Do I get rid of it? I don't know. I might, instead of getting rid of it, just bring it up a bit. Yes, that's a bit better. That is a bit better actually. Just gives it a bit more purpose. Yeah. I might just knife on a bit of titanium white just to see what happens. Maybe here. Yeah, and perhaps a little bit there. Makes the sky a bit more interesting. Let's sort that corner out. Very gently go over where I knifed on that titanium white, scarcely touching. Yeah, that'll do it, I think. I think that is just about jobs are good. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and COVID permitting, I will see you in the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe and all that business, and I'm also on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and my website jonkidd.co.uk. So yeah, quite pleased with that one. So thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.